The views expressed, opinions given, and any communication made between the hosts and guests of What Are You Afraid of Horror and Paranormal Show do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Para-X Radio, EMC Network, or all services that play this show. The hosts and services are not responsible for the actions of their guests, and the original rights of all intellectual property is retained by the creator, and all work is used with either permission or Creative Commons license. The show is for entertainment purposes only. I'm horror author T. Fox Dunham.
And I'm horror author and filmmaker Phil Thomas.
And tonight we're asking you,
what are you afraid of? Philadelphia's horror home with hosts T. Fox Dunham and Phil Thomas.
Episode 114.
That's right.
Ghost Yarns of the Sea.
That's my favorite number.
Is it?
114, yeah.
114.
I like it.
Good. Yeah, it is your favorite number. Any particular reason for that?
No.
No, you just...
I was just joking around.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good number. It's 114 episodes.
I'm saying I like it's my favorite number because it's our most current episode. That's why I'm like that's why I
see.
like it.
Okay, it's now my favorite number too.
Okay.
God, 114 episodes, and this is What Are You Afraid of? Horror and Paranormal Show. I'm T. Fox Dunham.
And I'm Phil Thomas.
And we are here with episode 114, Ghost Yarns of the Sea, because we talk a lot of maritime stuff on this episode. We have a cool ghost story called the USS Olympia. It's parked in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. It's a museum, but it needs a lot of work done to it.
It really does. But have you ever been there?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, I have too. Yeah.
Over down at Penn's Landing.
Right.
If you go down to the Delaware River. And I wrote this ghost story based on several documented sources. So I kind of came up with that. And we've got a neat story called The Future and Power of the British Empire. And then some neat music. And we're kind of talking about ghost stories of the sea. We got a cool criminal detective, paranormal investigator we chat about, and some neat ghost stories from Michigan. So we'll start with our ghost story. This is the USS Olympia on What Are You Afraid of? Horror and Paranormal Show on Parax Radio, Friday nights at 9 p.m. And you can find us at the website at www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com. And we'll be right back.
What are you afraid of?
The dead demand to be heard. And on What Are You Afraid of? Horror and Paranormal Show, Philadelphia's horror home, we listen.
New, true ghost stories every episode. Interviews with paranormal investigators. There is no supernatural.
The natural world is just far greater than we can perceive. More information and expanded content at www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com.
And follow us on Twitter at PFWhatAfraidOf. Find us on all major podcast services including iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify, iHeartRadio, or listen to us Fridays at 9 p.m. on the Para-X Radio Network.
I'm horror author T. Fox Dunham.
I'm horror author and filmmaker Phil Thomas. So what are you afraid of? If you like what you hear, leave us a review on your preferred podcast service.
What are you afraid of? Horror and paranormal shows.
Speak to the dead.
Para-X.
The Haunting of the Cruiser, USS Olympia. Research by T. Fox Dunham from such sources as Darcy Oud's book, Haunted Philadelphia. Websites like greatest-unsolved-mysteries.com. And from various accounts. Read by David Walton. No chance for a prayer, not a word of farewell to his shipmates around that loved him so well. His frame, crushed and quivering, was borne to the deck. No hope, said our surgeon, it has broken his neck. On April the 24th, 1895, Olympia's portside No. 2 gun broke free from its gun carriage and smashed coxswain John Johnson to the side of the USS Olympia. This was the first time the ship had claimed a victim, and the event was memorialised by the previous poem, written by a fellow crew member. The Navy buried John Johnson with full military honours in San Diego, but his spirit does not rest. Crew and visitors have reported strange noises around the site of his death, strange knocking sounds with no apparent source. A volunteer on the ship reported hearing such knocking. I was on the starboard side on the second deck near the galley when something was knocking on the door right next to me. The door was actually a closet. It was a storage closet, padlocked shut. Someone was trying to get my attention. Connie Burkhart, who reported the strange noise, was not the only one to report strange occurrences on the Philadelphia moored ship, the USS Olympia. Some have even heard the sound of a loud bang, perhaps the same noise made when the gun crushed the poor coxswain. The ship does not want you to forget his death. The USS Olympia is a protected cruiser that saw service in the United States Navy from her commissioning in 1895 until 1922. This vessel became famous as the flagship of Commodore George Dewey at the Battle of Manila Bay during the Spanish-American War in 1898. On May 1, 1898, Navy Commodore George Dewey stood on her bridge and said his famous line, "You may fire when you are ready, Gridley." The cruiser fired the opening shots of the Battle of Manila Bay, starting the Spanish-American War. The Olympia participated in the 1919 Allied intervention in the Russian Civil War, and on September 11, 1957, she became a maritime museum moored at Penn's Landing next to the submarine USS Becuna and the Moshulu. The Olympia is the oldest steel American warship still afloat, the last surviving ship of the Spanish-American War, and now resides as property of the Independence Seaport Museum, where efforts continue to raise money to restore her to her former glory. Many believe that coxswain John Johnson's death cursed the ship. Soon after, an anchor chain broke, nearly severing a crewman's leg. Boiler fumes nearly claimed the lives of a cleaning crew, and since his death, over 40 people have died on the Olympia. Perhaps the ship is cursed. After all, it did carry the unknown soldiers who died in World War I from France to the United States to be buried with full honours. Maybe this duty would forever haunt the ship, founding its reputation as a vessel of death. At length of 344 feet, with a beam of 53 feet, the cruiser Olympia displaces 5,870 tons. She had a crew of 33 officers, 396 enlisted men, and sailed at a top speed of 22 knots, consuming 633 pounds of coal per minute when at top speed. She was a technological marvel of her time, the first of a breed of new cruisers at the turn of the 20th century. She was designed during a period known as the New Steep Navy, a period when the US Navy designed ships using new techniques in metallurgy that bid farewell to wooden ships. The cruiser was built with top-of-the-line steam engines, new forms of armour, and a large rifled arsenal, all built into an efficient and complex design. New electrical systems were installed by General Electric, a new company at the time. In addition to setting up electric lighting, ammunition hoists, blowers, automatic fire and flooding detection systems, telephones were also loaned by the Bell Telephone Company. Guests and workers have encountered many spirits over the years aboard the Olympia. Though the engine room is considered the most haunted part of the ship, spirits roam the corridors freely, making themselves known to visitors. Harry Burkhart's son, Kevin, worked with a volunteer in the engine room when a shadowy silhouette ran across the doorway. Then later in the day, they witnessed someone reflected in plexiglass, but no living person was with them. Harry Burkhart felt someone clutch his arms in the area of the boiler room. 2 freezing hands grabbed him, chilling him to his soul while he was alone. Harry was part of an EVP, electronic voice phenomena, recording session on the berth deck. When later played back the recording, they heard responses from the disembodied. When they asked, "Do you mind us being here?" someone responded, "Get out!" They also picked up a voice commanding them to save the ship. The Independence Seaport Museum has been raising money to do just that. The ISM in Philadelphia has raised millions of dollars from private donors to rebuild the ship, make her seaworthy, and turn her into a permanent attraction on the Delaware waterfront. Perhaps when they have succeeded in their task in preserving this floating memorial, the ghosts will finally rest in peace. Until that time, spirits continue to declare themselves to visitors and volunteers, demanding they not be forgotten, that they do not go gently into that good night. Melissa Miller, a visitor, witnessed a full-bodied spirit manifest in front of her while she explored the engine area. Other guests have witnessed a translucent spirit appear before them. Other ghosts roam the ship in full naval uniform or full business suits, and dark shadows lurk near the boiler. A female voice laughs in the boiler room and occasionally informs guests that she thinks he is okay. John Lorino, the assistant manager of historic ships at the Independence Seaport Museum, was startled by a voice calling out to him in the engine room. In his words, he jumped about a foot in the air. An EVP recording has even recorded one spirit with amorous intentions when he called out, "I think I'm in love." Whenever T. Fox Dunham visits Philadelphia, he always makes it a point to take the MFL to the 2nd Street station on the edge of the Delaware River. Then he walks south to Penn's Landing, passing by the beautiful ships and submarines at the Independence Seaport Museum. It is a special place that brings beauty and history to this great river. Historians have laboured for nearly 60 years to rebuild and preserve this relic of America's past that once took Yankee power to the oceans, supporting the USA in several conflicts. In 2017, the Independence Seaport Museum announced that it will embark on a major national fundraising campaign to raise $20 million to dry dock the vessel so that the hull can finally be fully repaired. The museum announced a semi-permanent exhibit featuring the Olympia entitled World War I, USS Olympia, opening on June 16th, 2017. Information about the ship can be found at the Independence Seaport Museum at phillyseaport.org/Olympia. Or you can go to the show website at www.whatayouafraidofpodcast.com for links to the ship and ways you can support in the ship's preservation. We must value our history for future generations to know their legacy, so please support the Independence Seaport Museum. Could a floating vessel be considered a haunted house? Does that mean the apparitions travel with the ship as it sails from port to port? What defines a haunted place? Its geographic location, or perhaps its walls, its nature and the identity people give it. We feel like old houses are alive and possess unique personalities, so why not a ship? Perhaps it is the history we remember and the stories we tell that summon spirits to reside in these places, whether a house, the ground upon which the house is built, a floating ship, or even an airplane in the sky. So, is it the history of the location that matters, or how it's remembered by the people?
What are you afraid of?
Hi, I'm Tim Wagner, Bram Stoker Award-winning author.
Hashtag Grave Girls.
This is Katrina Weidman of Destination America's Paranormal Lockdown.
This is Jim Chambers. I'm the author of The Engines of Sacrifice.
This is Jasper Barr, award-winning author of The Final Cut.
And you're listening to What Are You Afraid Of?
What Are You Afraid Of?
To What Are You Afraid Of?
What are you afraid of?
Love it. Fantoxic, please. Fantoxic.
Mercy, a new horror medical thriller from author T. Fox Dunham, published by Bloodbound Books. Based on the author's horrific battle with a rare form of lymphoma that involved intense chemotherapy and radiation, Fox turns the horror of his experience into terror on the page.
William Saint is dying of cancer. On most days, death seems like a humane alternative to the treatment. Stricken with fever, William is rushed to Mercy, notorious as a place to send the sickest of the poor and uninsured to be forgotten, and finds the hospital in even worse condition than his previous visit.
Willie's memories faded. He grabbed his sack head, the sack head of the scarecrow, picking at the exposed chicken wire to hold them in. However, the memories fell out of the holes in his face. They wormed and crawled from the leather flesh and the old clothing of the scarecrow, then squirmed and wiggled down his body.
The grounds are unkempt, the foundation is cracking, and like the wild mushrooms sprouting from the fissures of decay around it, something is growing inside the hospital. Something dark.
Fangoria gives Mercy 3.5 out of 4 skulls. Dunham has channeled his many brushes with the other side into the exquisitely rendered, lyrical, supernatural hospital thriller Mercy.
It's feeding on the sickness and sustaining itself on the staff, changing them, and now it wants Willie.
Come now, Mr. Saint. Just a little more of that sweet milk. So salty and so good. You won't miss it. And we ever do so like our delicacies here at Mercy Hospital.
Part medical horror, part supernatural suspense, Mercy is a hard-hitting fever dream of a novel. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Tim Wagner, author of The Way of All Flesh and Eat the Night. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and bookstores everywhere in both print and digital versions.
Life is an addiction.
Let go. Let it all burn.
Grey Matter Press presents a 21st Century Gothic from John C. Foster, the author of Mr. White. The Isle. There's a secret at the edge of the world. When a deadly menace threatens a remote island community, United States Marshal Virgil Bone digs into the island's macabre past. But some secrets should never be uncovered. Some curses should be believed. And some people will kill to keep it so. The Isle is available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other fine retailers.
Rat! Rat! Where are you going?
I'm going back to the Paranormal View, back where I belong.
Please, take me with you.
No, I'm through with everything here. I want to see if there's something left in life I haven't explored. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Rat, don't run to them. They talk about ghosts and hauntings, UFOs, and all kind of supernatural scary stuff.
You'll never understand, will you, Scarlet?
No!
Well, that's your misfortune.
Rat, if you go, where shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear... Line!
Oh, you gotta be kidding.
That's the Paranormal View with your host, Henry Foister, Jeffrey Gould, and Barbara Duncan. Every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the Para X Radio Network.
We're back.
We are back.
On episode 114.
That was awesome.
On What Are You Afraid of? Horror and Paranormal Show. Yeah, I love stories about ships and boats.
Yeah.
Especially set on the ocean.
Absolutely.
All good horror fiction has certain elements of setting, and one of those elements is isolation.
Yeah.
You know, like the castle in the middle of nowhere, an island out in the ocean, or a boat, or a house out in a field, stranded millions of miles from civilization.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like Jason and Crystal Lake. Crystal Lake's like in the middle of nowhere.
It is. It's an isolated campground.
Mm-hmm. In the middle of the woods.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I like anything out in the sea, boats, ships, things like that as well. Because traditionally everyone thinks of haunted houses and things like no. I mean, all that stuff great, but most people don't think about haunted ships. There's been movies about a ghost ship and things like that.
Good stuff. There's a neat haunted house down in Wildwood on the Jersey Shore, and it's right off the one pier. The main pier with the Ferris wheels and all the rides and things.
I think that's Mariners.
Yeah, Mariners, and it's a ship.
Okay.
Like they apparently crashed, and it was carrying nuclear testing on it during World War II. And when you look at it,
really?
On the outside looks like a kiddie ride. And I still wanted to see it anyway. My wife and I went through it. And actually, when you get in there, it's detailed.
Okay.
As good as, say, Penhurst.
Wow.
And it's full of actors, and it's full of beautiful special effects, and it's a long ride. It's like 3 floors, and you go up outside, you walk around outside, and you go back into the ship. And it's just a beautiful ride that they did down there. You gotta go check it out.
Wait, I think I know what you're talking about. I think I know what you're... Yeah. It's like a ship.
Yeah, it's like a ship. And it was the source of a nuclear accident.
Okay, right. Yeah.
And it's full of monsters and ghosts and zombies. And it was a well-done ride. Yeah. And it was good for adults, too.
Yeah, I went on it. I went on it once. I did it once.
Did you once?
A couple years ago.
Yeah.
I was there with a few friends. No one else wanted to go on with me.
Because it looked like it's something for kids.
Yeah. Not only that, but they don't... especially one of my friends doesn't like haunted, spooky stuff. He won't go on anything like that. So I ended up just going on myself. I was with a group of people, but it was really cool. It was
really
a neat
cool ride. Yeah, check that out. You get down the wild. Of course, pretty soon we'll all be going down the shore.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember. You might not remember this because I maybe you did when you were a kid. Do you remember the ghost ship? It was actually a ghost ship around where this new one is.
Okay.
It was a pirate ship. That's what it was.
All right. Okay. Sure.
It was a pirate ship.
Was that the Cinderella?
I don't remember the name of it.
Okay.
But it was in Wildwood, and it was in the same location, I believe.
Neat.
That this new one is. Yeah.
Okay. So wow. No, I don't quite remember that as much. Okay. But I do love Wildwood. Can't wait to get down there. They'll be opening up soon.
Yeah.
We stayed recently at a hotel. Let's see. The Lafayette in Cape May.
Okay.
And of course, you walk up to the owner or the person there and you go, so tell me about the ghost stories. And they instantly have all these ghost stories to tell you. And it's something I'm going to be investigating further. But she told me the story about a Mr. Menz who used to own that property.
Okay.
And he would always walk from the front door to the back office, back and forth, looking for guests. And he died several years ago, but the people who work there still see him walking.
Wow.
Back and forth to the front. Like, it's this pool that they filled in now, and part of a dining room, but he still walks to his office, and whenever he walks by, they can smell 2 things. Tobacco and a certain kind of candy that he used to give out to kids. He had a candy shop.
Wow.
Mr. Menz.
Yeah, nice.
It's a beautiful hotel. It's right in front of the ocean, right on the tip of Cape May.
Okay.
I'm sure you've seen it.
I believe I've pretty much seen everything down there.
Yeah, right next to that little mini crappy golf course.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's right
there.
That's a
really crappy golf course.
Oh, God, it was beautiful. We were up on the 3rd floor. We had a balcony that overlooked the ocean. It was wonderful. I mean, we went in. It was cold, obviously, to get the best rate, but it was... So a little ghost story there, and of course there's a little girl that runs around on the top floor too.
But it's going to be about 73 degrees.
Yeah, we're getting some weekend. Finally.
Yeah.
Yeah, Allison's dying to go to the ocean again.
That's pretty good for. It's the end of March. 73 degrees is pretty damn good. So.
I'm going to be planting soon, I think.
Okay, good.
And we're pulling out the grill.
Yeah,
we're going to get out the grill.
I just got mine ready.
With famous ghost ships, like you've heard of the Mary Celeste.
Okay.
Right? That was a merchant ship. They found it derelict and adrift in the ocean, Atlantic Ocean, 1872. And the boat was exactly as it was supposed to be, in seaworthy condition. All the sails were up. All of its food were in the cargo hold. But its lifeboats, captain, logbook, and more importantly, the crew was gone.
Okay.
There was no sign of struggle. And the personal belongings of the crew and cargo, and all this alcohol was untouched, so it wasn't piracy. And no one's sure what happened to the crew.
Wow.
This famous ghost story, the Mary Celeste, you've heard of that. And, of course, you've heard of the Flying Dutchman.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course.
John, or what was his name from the pirate movie? Davy Jones.
Okay.
Davy Jones' Locker.
Davy Jones' Locker, yeah.
I always liked Davy Jones.
Yeah, me too.
He was pretty cool.
Not to be confused with the Monkees musician.
Yeah.
Davy Jones.
Who just died, didn't he? Was that
a couple years ago.
Yeah, a couple years ago. But that was first mentioned in George Barrington's seafaring novel, Voyage to Botany Bay. Okay. And its legend has grown as it's been seen by numerous fishermen over the years. And of course, when you see a ghost ship out there that appears and vanishes in the fog, they call it a Flying Dutchman. From that.
That's interesting because I never really realized that correlation before. There used to be a mini roller coaster in Wildwood called the Flying Dutchman.
There you go.
Yeah.
Again, getting back to Wildwood.
Yeah. And that was in Wildwood.
So that was now, a couple more that I found really interesting was the HMS Eurydice, 1878. It's en route from Bermuda to Portsmouth, where our dear friend David Walton is from.
Yeah.
And this was the naval ship HMS Eurydice. It was caught in a terrible snowstorm off the Isle of Wight. It capsized and sank, killing all but 2 of the crew, right?
Right.
Apparently, a very young Winston Churchill even witnessed this in 1878. And since the capsizing, there have been reports from reputable sources, including Prince Edward, who saw the Eurydice again 70 years later.
Wow.
So he's still making appearances.
That's creepy.
But some cool naval ghost stories, and we've got to do a little more on that sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But it's so
it's a perfect time to start delving into that too.
It really is.
With spring here and barely here, just got here.
It just got, thankfully.
Yeah,
it's finally here. We might get a late snowstorm.
Oh God, really?
Sometimes we do.
Yeah.
Remember, at the last 2 years, early April, we suddenly got hit with a blizzard.
I know.
And that one year we got hit with that blizzard, the power went out.
Oh man, I remember that. It was horrible.
And Alice and I were seeking hot coffee, and we drove to 4 diners, and everyone else was out there too. And it was getting rough out there. People were getting angry.
Yeah. Oh, that was around this time last year.
Yes,
right?
It was.
Yeah, maybe a couple weeks earlier.
Right around, but so, be prepared, because it still yet might snow. It's been known to throw some curveballs at us.
I'm hoping you're wrong this year, though.
I hope so, too.
I don't want any blizzards right now.
I want spring.
I want spring, too.
We all do.
I do want spring. I don't want 95-degree humidity. I don't want that, but I want nice, pleasant temperatures.
Oh, those 70-degree weather that you can, and it's finally light out at night, and you can go get ice cream at 7 o'clock and go play mini golf. And we've been enjoying a little of the sunny weather. Cool thing. That Time for Violence, The Stories with an Edge, out from... it's coming out very soon, May 1st.
Okay.
It's, we're featuring a lot of authors from it. We'll be featuring Isabel Blackthorne on the next episode.
Right.
She sent us a great ghost story. I talked to her a little bit, and we have a piece of her fiction from A Time for Violence. And throughout the years, countless wordsmiths have produced their own story collections, but the book you are now holding is a love letter to the great anthologies of yesteryear, assembling stories by a variety of talents, packaged neatly, and often connected by a singular theme. Now, I did a mafia story. Remember?
I do.
That was a fun one about the Philadelphia mob.
Right.
And some amazing authors in it, like Joe R. Lansdale, Max Allan Collins, Richard Casimir, Richard Christian Matheson, John Russo, one of the producers of Night of the Living Dead, of course, Isabel Blackthorne, and we'll be featuring authors from that anthology over the next couple of months.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. So check that out. You can pre-order that over at Amazon.com. Now, speaking of some fiction, I did a little piece for Mark Slade, dear old Mark, with his publisher, for one of the anthologies. It was called The Future and Power of the British Empire. It's all about these British colonels in the heat of their empire during the Victorian era summon an evil darkness, Cthulhu-like, and try to control it. And of course, it controls them. And David Walton recorded this for us. And I thought I'd throw this in, a little dark fiction, to go with the theme of monsters and ocean and great empires and the return of spring, obviously.
Right.
And this is What Are You Afraid Of? At www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com. Go check out the website for more ghost stories and interviews with our authors and more information and links and all that. And you can find us on Parax Radio at Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is The Future and Power of the British Empire, read by David Walton on What Are You Afraid Of?
Stones rolling back into the ocean. Shake it off if it was only just a cost. Money, money, money can't buy the ocean. never love, never know nobody. Right or wrong, you know it won't be long. Just as long as the scars are fine. If we ever misbehave, storm was throwing back into the ocean. All alone, wearing a mask inside my home. How could he make me drink that potion? Let it go, just like the ones that came before. Storms rolling back into the ocean. Shake it off, it was only just a cost. Money, 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 can't buy the ocean.
Future and Power of the British Empire. A short story of fiction by T. Fox Dunham and read by David Walton. Old Smiley's mother was never proud of him, 'cause he be a grave digger, but I gets alone with the lonely ones in the boxes. Have this ring on us. They gives up their baubles. Very ladylike of you, miss. Frilly underthings too. Smiley likes a lady in frilly underthings. I went a-digging one night in the back of the yard, where the old church used to be by that medical school. Curious was I. Story says a terrible darkness buried there from the ancient ones. Founds it I did too, reached a claw hand at me. Foggy eyes watched and tentacles clawed for me. Would have done me in if the sun hadn't risen, killed it stone dead. And I gets me an idea. I sells it to the young scientist who pays me for bodies to dissect at the near school, Dr. Sullivan. He pays me good for it and says it'll revolutionise the British Empire. I'm a patriot, I am. Then I takes the £5 note down to the pub and finds old Fish Legs Martha. We have a time of it. Dissection and morphology indicates an aquatic life form. I draw my diagrams and dream of presenting it to the Royal College of Physicians. The cold clay of the earth seems to have preserved it, but it will require further study to confirm the hypothesis. The wretch of the gravedigger told me sunlight killed it. I've made cuttings of the cells and exposed them to various chemical agents, and something surprising happened. The cells began to spontaneously reproduce. I have allowed them to develop in special glass tanks, and what appears to be bipedal creatures have developed. Their intelligence appears to be limited, yet they have the characteristics of great strength. I can't even begin to calculate what this will mean to the Empire and Victoria's reign. I thought it was dead. Tentacles break the locks on the door to the dissection room. Its children grow. So many offspring. My wife is upstairs. Oh, forgive me, dear wife. I'll try to burn it. I will try. I write what I saw. My name is Rebecca Marshall. My husband, a medical practitioner, operated the morgue and laboratory below. This is what I saw that night. He screamed in the rooms below, and fire burned the house in North London town. I climbed down the back stairs, and outside I met the houseman, Andrew, my sin, and a gravedigger who toiled in the cemetery next to our quarters. Tentacles rained in the night, spilling from the collapsed house and lab. Amorphous blobs marched on the trio, standing out in the loose dirt of the cemetery. "Old Smiley will take care of you, little miss," the gravedigger said, holding up his shovel. The amorphous men bubbled and oozed, sealing us in. What had my husband done? I swear to you now, he only wanted to secure the future and power of the British Empire. Andrew, his assistant, pulled out his sword and cut through the first bubble men. They split apart, oozed in some diabolical way that reminded me of Lucifer. Then it fused into a being again. "I never should have betrayed my husband," I said to Andrew, thinking of our nights together while my husband, the scientist, toiled below, abandoning me to his science. I burned hot blood. The army of demons fell upon us, and the ancient tentacles whipped in the house. Its breath stank of rotting fish, and I vomited down my nightgown and robe. They fought, and I ripped off a piece of fabric, then lit a torch from a stick on the ground, keeping the vile creatures away. They overwhelmed us. First, the gravedigger fell and smothered beneath their bubbles. Then my lover fell, both my husband and lover in one night. I surrendered my torch. The sun ascended above the fire, igniting the clouds pink. The blob demons dissolved beneath the light, and the screeches of the great octopus in the house deafened me. I prayed for its minions to murder me as it did my lovers, but the soldiers melted into the dirt, dissolving like lye soap bubbles. I lived alone with the guilt beyond then, never loving again.
Explore the darkness.
Find out what goes bump in the night. Did you hear that?
Did you see that? What's that bright light in the sky? Oh, we so need to investigate.
Calling all witches and sensitives.
Explore the paranormal.
With host
Shauna
and Vicky
from Geeks Paranormal.
Wednesdays
at 9 Eastern,
8 Central.
Let's explore. On paraxradio.com.
Well, here we are again. I thought that perhaps the nightmare was over, but no. I am summoned once again and can only obey. I am in thrall of Fox and unable to resist his powers, his hypnotic powers, masquerading as charm and friendship, his transatlantic, perhaps global powers. And so, every Sunday morning I sit in front of a microphone and read. Every Sunday afternoon I edit the audio file I have been commanded to create. Every Sunday evening I press send on an email to Philadelphia with an MP3 attached and tremble as I await the verdict of my master. I changed my name from David Walton to Brendan Shawland and created music which I liberally sprinkled throughout the internet in websites including SoundCloud and Bandcamp in a pathetic attempt to throw him off the scent. Those hopeless breadcrumbs are still available if you care to listen, so that you will know what not to do when your time comes. That's right, it didn't work. He tracked me down, and I am once again his creature. If you are listening to this, you are in grave danger, and I can only urge you to flee. Flee before it is too late, before you find that you too are a voice actor on whatayouafraidof.com.
In the future, roving bands of comic book podcasts will savage the wasteland, once known as the Internet. One podcast, the Grawlix Podcast, may not be the biggest, may not be the funniest, may not be the most well-spoken. Wait, what was my point again? Oh yes, the Grawlix Podcast. Listen to it at grawlixpodcast.com. That's GRAWLIX podcast.com.
Fun little story.
Oh yeah.
It was a short one. Mm-hmm. When I design content for the show, I like to sort of think of it like I'm spicing a good turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, onions and lemon.
Basting a good turkey.
Yeah, basting a good turkey. I like to create a nice little... Because we're a dark magazine. We're not really one thing or another.
Right.
We're noir, paranormal, stuff we like. You can find horror, you can find crime, you can find interviews with paranormal investigators or authors or film directors. You know, if it's got a darker theme to it.
Anything that has that kind of theme, we like to cover.
Yeah, we do.
Authors, filmmakers,
and
even actors.
You sent me an interesting article about a Michael J. Worden.
I did, yes. I found it online. I found it to be very interesting.
Okay.
He is a detective. He's a cop.
Okay.
And he's trying to prove the existence of ghosts.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah. And it should be pretty interesting. He's a Port Jervis police detective.
Okay.
But in his off hours, he investigates ghosts.
Sure.
You know, and as luck would have it, tomorrow, March 28th.
Okay.
He will be present at what he describes as the most compelling evidence of ghosts in audio and video recordings
at the Port Jervis Free Library.
He will be at the Port Jervis Free Library.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah.
And that looks, because he's a detective, so he believes in evidence.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
So he's the author of The Ghost Detective.
The Ghost Detective, yes.
I like that.
That's a great name. That's a great title. I love it.
And he works with Linda Zimmerman, a former research chemist, and Barbara Roth, a psychic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's cool. So, yeah, it was neat. I was checking this guy out.
Yeah, and he's up around the Hudson Valley.
Oh, I love the Hudson Valley.
I know, right?
But that's something we'll be going to soon.
Yeah, actually, I might be going in 2 weeks.
Oh, really? Where at what area?
Possibly Hudson Valley.
Okay, just Hudson Valley.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what area yet.
Are you just going up yourself, or?
No, me and a couple of my friends might be going.
So do you know where you're going yet?
I have to. I want to do a little more research.
Cold Spring.
Cold Spring.
Go stay in. I'm trying to think of the military base up there. It'll come to me. The training area. I can't believe I can't remember it. It'll come to me later. But go stay in the Cold Spring area.
Okay, Cold Spring.
And it's not too far. It's about 2.5 hours.
Okay, that's not bad.
Drive, and it's right on the Hudson Valley. I mean, it's beautiful.
Wow.
It's like New Hope, but on the Hudson Valley.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really, really beautiful. And we stay up there. And you can get some cheap hotels right now, and it's just a beautiful town, and there's so much to do in the area. And there's plenty of, if you want to check out ghost stories, that kind of thing up there, too, there's a lot.
Yeah.
And just a lot of parks and things. So it's not too far, but we go up there to Cold Spring.
Cold Spring, okay.
Yeah, I'll get you some information.
Yeah, please do.
Where we stayed and such.
Yeah, because, it might even be as close as this weekend. I'm not sure yet.
We might just...
I'm not going to stay overnight, though.
Okay.
It's one day, up and back.
Okay, yeah. So you might want to go check out Sleepy Valley, even though it's not really... Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow, right?
Yeah.
I definitely want to check out Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, you can stop off there.
Right.
On the way home.
Okay. So Cold Spring. If I go to
Cold Spring. That's the place you want to go to.
I can hit Sleepy Hollow on the way back.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's on the way back down.
Sleepy Hollow. Yeah.
But the guy looks interesting. I just sent him a friend.
Friend request. Yeah.
And we'll see if we can get him on the show.
Yeah. Michael J. Worden.
Michael J. Worden. He sounds neat. And, of course, we'll be bringing authors and more paranormal investigators. And we got some cool things lined up. Mm-hmm. Now, we are slowing down a little bit, which I have to because of health reasons.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean our content's going to get any lesser.
Right.
And it's just going to give our fans time to keep catching up.
Absolutely.
As we bring stories and music and things like that. It's going to be a cool spring. And it's really cool going to Cold Springs up to the Hudson Valley.
Yeah, I definitely want to do it. I mean, it sounds like a great place.
Now, Bill sent me something interesting.
Okay.
Our dear friend Bill. Hey, Bill.
Hey, Bill. How you doing?
Hey, Bill's in the car right now. We're sitting at Barnes & Noble.
One of the two, right?
Dear old Bill. He sent me a link from Michigan.
Okay.
This is Michigan Ghost News.
Mm.
Now, a family has been hearing the sounds of screaming, stomping, laughing, that kind of thing.
Right.
And they've been awakened by what sounds like a man shouting.
Okay.
So they have a kid, a young child who's still in a crib, and they finally woke up and found purple scratches.
Ooh.
Down her face. Yeah, down her face of all things.
What would do something like that?
Well, demonic scratching.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, what? I mean, even just to a kid, that's just terrible.
Heather Bow and Josh Higgins, it's her fiance, they finally set up a camera to see what was going on with their 1-year-old Lily. And we'll put the link up at the website. I do need to get in and do some of the episodes up on the website, but you'll find the video they put up on our website at www.whatafraidofpodcast.com. And you can actually see, like, all of a sudden the baby wakes up.
Okay.
In the middle of the night. And you don't know what woke her up. And then you see a shadow figure walk past the crib, and the baby freaks out.
Right, oh gosh.
It's creepy.
Man.
It's your parents' worst nightmare.
Wow, that's horrible.
She said, "This is a spirit. I don't know what its intentions are, but at this point it's becoming physically harmful. This has made us want to leave as soon as possible. As soon as we're out of here," she said.
Right, yeah.
Imagine if you saw that on your kid.
Oh, that would be just the worst,
Yeah.
The worst case scenario.
It would be.
And your kid scratched,
And it's picking on a poor baby.
That's what I mean, yeah.
It's like it's a defenseless child that this ghost is reaching out to. And I mean, if the ghost wanted to communicate, why not reach out to adult? This thing's sadistic.
Right. It has to be to do that.
Yeah. But I know it's so easy to blame demons.
Yeah.
And, of course, people would always jump on and say it's a demon.
Right.
But it's probably just a malevolent spirit or entity.
Yeah. I'm looking at some history here of it, and apparently this couple, they resided in Higgins' mother's guest house in Michigan.
Yeah.
And according to the mother, before the couple moved in, there was an elderly woman who lived there, and she says she laid with a broken hip.
Yeah, for days,
for a very long time before she was found dead at the bottom of her stairs.
Yeah.
And her schizophrenic brother lived there as well until his death a few years later.
So again, you've got tragedy.
Yeah.
You've got death.
Double tragedy.
A lot of anger. Mm-hmm. Imagine lying there for days, dying alone in pain like that.
That's hard, yeah.
And it's like leaving a match on a hardwood floor. It's going to burn you into the house.
It is, yeah.
That's exactly, it's going to burn you into the house. And so the entities, I mean, they need to get out of there.
They do, they absolutely do. Mm-hmm.
See, okay, here's some tips on cleansing. It is springtime.
Yes, it is.
Time to get out the negative energy. That's what I'll be doing next week.
Right.
With all my health issues and the stress we've been under, it cakes into a place just like dirt does.
Right.
So not only will I be washing everything, including all the whites, and using bleach. Bleach is very good for getting out caked-in illness and negativity in a place.
Right.
But I'll also be laying down sage.
Okay.
And a little sea salt.
Nice. Very nice.
You let that absorb the energy. You open all your windows.
Okay.
And let just a breeze blow it all out. And then vacuum it up. And then burn like a smudging stick.
Okay, smudging stick.
Yeah,
right.
smudge a little bit and burn it in the atmosphere.
Okay.
And just let that smoke fill the room a little and then clear out the air. And then do a little meditation white light ceremony where you are soaking your body in white light in a vision.
Okay.
You can take a shower yourself.
Right.
And you will feel all the winter stress and weight lift.
Okay, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it works.
I'll have to give that a shot.
You should.
Yeah.
You should. I think you'll feel better.
Yeah. I'll have to do that.
But that's what I'll be doing.
Okay, great.
We've had some cool songs on this episode.
You'll have to give me tips on sage and smudging sticks. And
Yeah.
things like.
Yeah, you can find them pretty easily. Go up to New Hope.
Right, New Hope has them. Right.
Or and you just get some sprinkled sage at a herb shop or New Hope, something like that. And of course, I'll be growing my herbs soon.
Right.
I'm planting my planters hopefully this weekend.
Right.
If I pull up to it.
That's nice. What are you going to plant?
My usual.
Okay.
Mint, the mints, sage, rosemary, lavender, thyme, lemon balm, and of course the umbles and things like parsley, fennel. All my cooking stuff. It's mostly a culinary garden.
If you ever played Red Dead Redemption 2, you'd be in your element
because you do the herbs.
Because there's a lot of pretty much everything you just mentioned. You would definitely be an herbalist.
Very much so.
Yeah, you would definitely would because you collect all these herbs. I mean, you don't grow them. You collect them.
You collect them. You go out in the woods
and then you craft with them.
Very cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Just like, wow, World of Warcraft used to do that.
Right.
I used to be the potion guy.
Nice.
I used to sit there and get all the potions ready for the raids.
Right.
That was me. But some music we played, we had Stones Rolling Back into the Ocean, Handmade Moments, and we're going to close the show with A Room Full of Shadows from Rue De Prague. It's kind of like, this is the winter darkness leaving in the song. You know what I mean? But this has been episode 114, and we've been talking about the ocean.
Yes, we have.
And ghost stories on the shore.
It's making me feel very nostalgic for the ocean right now.
I know, me too. So you're not going to Hudson Valley. You're going to go to the shore this week, and you're ditching them. And hopefully we'll get down there soon.
Quite possibly, yes.
But go check out the website at www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com. And on our next episode, we should be back with author Isabel Blackthorne, who's in Australia. She's a neat lady.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Before we wrap.
Okay.
Someone said this, and I thought about it, and it actually, I thought about it more than I expected to.
Okay.
Have you ever felt nostalgic for a place you've never been?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Everybody's in love with some place they supposedly... like people get in love with Scotland.
Yeah.
Or people fall in love with France and always want to go there one day. Do you have a place like that?
Yeah. And particularly right now, the South. There's certain states I've never been to that I really want to get to, and another one, probably the biggest one that I'm nostalgic for, even though I've never been there, is New Orleans.
We're going.
You're going? Okay, yeah.
We're planning a trip.
You're coming up, nice.
I was there once, and Alice and I are going to go back.
Nice.
Hopefully in a month or two, if I'm well enough. We're going to go down.
Yeah. I'm planning. I'm getting there within the year. My cousin wanted to go, but not during Mardi Gras.
Okay. No.
So we're loosely planning something for the end of this year. But we just don't want to go during Mardi Gras.
No, it's way too expensive.
It's way too expensive. Way too many people.
Yeah, it is.
I don't want to deal with that. I want to deal with... if I was 25, I'd be cool with that, but... I'm not.
Yeah, I get that.
Well,
we'll pull some ghost stories together from as the air stewardess said to me. She went, "It's Nolans, darling."
Yeah, it's
Nolans. I just made gumbo last week.
It's an old place. It's an old place. The bayou. I want to see the bayou.
French architecture. In the French Quarter. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, all that. Yeah. I'm sorry. You make gumbo?
Yeah, I made gumbo.
Nice.
There, it came out really well.
Came out good.
Yeah,
wonderful.
But this has been episode 114. What was it? Ghost Yarns of the Sea.
Ghost Yarns of the Sea. It just rolls off the tongue.
It does.
Ghost Yarns of the Sea.
And I'm T. Fox Dunham.
And I'm Phil Thomas.
Thanks for listening.
I used to worship the motions of bone, and when the signs got out of sight, I shuddered into words. It's colder than I thought, but I will carry on. Even if I shared your values, I wouldn't kneel at your shrine. By the end of the day, I could be I stood on the sun, I slept on the curb over secrets I thought I would never stand. This rhythm of silence from the bottom of your lungs, but I'm still here and years have passed. It moves all around and what lies behind. I have seen you disappear, I have seen you disappear. what's left to say? I guess I don't look good these days. I could be wrong.
It's creepy.
Man.
It's your parents' worst nightmare.
Wow.
T. Fox Dunham lives in Philadelphia with his wife Allison. He's a lymphoma survivor, cancer patient, modern bard, and historian. His first book, The Street Martyr, was published by Gutter Books. A major motion picture based on the book is being produced by Throughline Films. Destroying the Tangible Illusion of Reality or Searching for Andy Kaufman, a book about what it's like to be dying of cancer, was recently released from Perpetual Motion Machine Publishing, and Fox has a story in the next Stargate anthology from MGM and Fandemonium Books, Points of Origin. Fox is an active member of the Horror Writers Association, and he's had published hundreds of short stories and articles. His motto is Wrecking Civilization, one story at a time.
Phil Thomas is an author and screenwriter from the suburbs of Philadelphia. His screenplays have been produced into feature films False Face and Always from Darkness, and are available in major retailers such as Best Buy and Target, as well as availability on Netflix and Amazon On Demand. His short films can be viewed on his YouTube channel, Film Zero Presents. He is a member of the International Association of Professional Writers and Editors, and he currently writes for Cultured Vultures, Game Skinny, and BloodyDisgusting.com. His first novel, The Poe Predicament, is being published in 2018 by Caliburn Press.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.